Today's lesson is 912, Products of Two-Digit Numbers, Part 2. This is a review of yesterday's lesson. Our learning target today is I can use place value and multiplication facts to calculate partial products. Using partial products, I'm going to try to decide what 34 times 17 is. I'm going to use what I know about place value to help me out. When I look at the number 34, what it really means is 30 plus 4. I have 3 groups of 10 or 30 plus 4 ones. When I look at 17, it really means 10 plus 7. Or what I'm saying is 1 group of 10 plus 7 ones. This is going to help me when I do my partial products. My bottom row here are my multipliers. So if I go to set up my problem, I know that I have a multiplier of 10 and I have a multiplier of 7. When I go to multiply, I'm going to be multiplying 7 times 4 and 7 times 30. I'm also going to be multiplying 10 by 4 and 10 by 30. So I'm going to fill in the rest of my partial products right now. So I'm going to be multiplying 10 times 4, 10 times 30, 7 by 4, 7 by 30. Now I'm ready to multiply. When I look at 10 times 4, well, I know that's 40. When I think of 10 times 30, I can use what I know about my smaller math facts. So I know that 1 times 3 is 3, and I'm noticing I have 2 zeros here, so this becomes 300. As I move on, 7 times 4 is 28. And again, I can use my smaller math facts. So I know that 7 times 3 is 21, and there's 1 extra 0, so I'm going to tack that on. And now I'm ready to multiply. I'm ready to add. So I'm going to add 40 plus 300 plus 28 plus 210, giving me a total of 578. I'm going to check my answer now using the array model. So as you might notice, I already marked off my array. So it's 17 by 34. Now, I'm going to ask myself, how many groups of 100 do I have? Correct. I have 3 groups of 100. Do you see any other groups of 100? No. So I'm going to move on and start looking for groups of 10. Well, I notice here on the top that from this side all the way across is a group of 10. So I know that I have a group of 10 there. I have groups of 10 here. And I have groups of 10 up here. Now, I need to check this last section. Well, I notice from the bottom line to this middle line, that's a group of 10. So I have groups of 10 down here. When I look at this line, so I'm going from 10, I don't make it all the way up to 20, so that's not a group of 10. So I'm going to color it in with blue, since this section is going to be counted up with ones. Now that I have my array color-coded, I need to start tallying it up. So I know each grid of green is worth 100. And I have 3 groups of 100. Now I need to figure out how many groups of 10 did I have in these upper sections. Well, I know that going across it's 10, and I know from this line, or the 10 mark, to the top of my array, that's 7. So I'm going to think, what's 7 times 10? And I get an answer of 70. So in each of these spots, there are 70 cubes. I can do the same when I'm looking at this quadrant down here. I know from this bottom line to the top is 10, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4 groups of 10. So 4 times 10 gives me a total of 40. Now I need to decide, how many ones do I have? Well, when I think about my array, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 going up, and I have 4 across. So 4 times 7 gets me a total of 28. Now I need to tally these values up to get my total answer. So I'm going to look and I'm going to go 70 plus 70 plus 70 plus 28 plus 40 plus 100 plus 100 plus 100. That gets me a total of 578. Again, this value matches my answer that I got using partial products, so I know it's correct. I verified it. Let's try it with this problem now. 22 times 28. So again, I'm going to ask myself, what is 22 if I'm thinking about place value? Well, it's the same as saying 20 plus 2. I have 2 groups of 10 or 20 and 2 ones. And what's 28? Well, it's really 20 plus 8. Again, I have 2 groups of 20, or 2 groups of 10, meaning 20, plus 8 ones. This bottom row represents my multiplier, so I'm going to be multiplying 8 times 2 and 8 times 20. And I'm going to be multiplying 20 times 2 and 20 times 20. So my next step will be to write in my multipliers. So I have a multiplier of 8 and I have a multiplier of 20. And like we noticed before, I'm going to be multiplying 8 by 2 and 20, and I'm going to be multiplying 20 by 2 and 20. You might notice a pattern here. My 220, 220, it repeats because I'm multiplying my multipliers by that same value up on top. Let's go ahead and multiply then. So I know 8 times 2 is 16. I'm going to use that same fact to help me out with this next problem. So again, 8 times 2 is 16, but I need to add a 0 on. So it becomes 160. Next, I'm going to do 20 times 2. Well, I knew 2 times 2 is 4, and I'm adding on a 0. And then again, I know 2 times 2 is 4, but this time I need to add 2 more zeros, making 400. Let's go ahead and add those up. So I'm going to be adding 16 plus 160 plus 40 plus 400. I got myself a total of 616. Now let's check to see if I was correct. Again, I'm going to be using my array to look for place value and total up. So looking at this array, how many groups of 100 do you see? 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 groups of 100. You might notice that if I tried to do another group of 100 here, it wouldn't work because while it's 10 on this side, I do not have 10 along the bottom. It comes short. So that means I need to move on and start looking for groups of 10. Right now I'm noticing that from this bottom line to this middle line, that's a group of 10. So I know this whole section is going to be colored red. And again, from this middle line to this top line, I also recognize that that's another group of 10. Now I need to take a look at the top. I know that from this edge to this middle line, that's 10. So I have 2 rows of 10 there, 2 rows of 10 here. But when I go to make another group of 10, it's not going to work because from this line to this line, it's only 8 squares. So I can't have a group of 10 there. So I know that this section is going to have to be blue. I'm going to tally up those boxes again. So I know that groups of green represent groups of 100. I have 4 groups of 100. I know that red represents groups of 10. Up here I have 2 groups of 10, so that's 20. On the side here, when I look at the bottom, it shows 8. So I have 8 groups of 10, or 80. When I look to the side, I know that there's 2, and going across, there's 8. So 2 times 8 gets me a value of 16. When I add all of these values together, it gets me a total of 616. That matches my answer that I got using partial products, so I know this answer is correct. Now you give it a shot. Try to find the answer of 31 times 22 using partial products. Remember to use what you know about multiplication facts and place value to help you solve. Pause the video here. Great job. Check your work. Does it match mine? When I break up 22, I break it into 20 and 2. And as you can see over here, that's my multipliers. When I break up 31, I break it into 30 and 1. And as you see here, that's what I'm multiplying by to get a total of 682. Now you try. Turn to page 235 in your workbooks. You're going to be using partial products to solve these problems. Good luck!